Welcome to The Marketplace. I'm your host, Ibrahim Sani, a show where we search for the hidden gems of the Bursa Malaysia, the small and mid-cap companies. Today on the show is new Hoong Fatt Group. Of course, the company is a leading automotive replacement parts manufacturer with an extensive distribution channel of more than 1,000 wholesalers and retailers throughout the country. They are principally involved in the manufacturing of metal and plastic auto body parts, the manufacturing of metal tools, and they are also in the business of wholesaling and marketing and trading of automotive parts and accessories. The replacement of this is very interesting. Of course, NHIF Group has been providing automotive part solutions since 1977. In 1989, they ventured into the manufacturing of metal and plastic automotive body replacement parts, such as door, hood, fender, trunk lid, and more. The group has now grown to a staff strength of approximately 1,000 people. And joining me today is, of course, their CFO, Mr. Chong Choon Yeng. Welcome to the show, Chong.
Thank you.
Let's go through the company's background. Could you describe to us what New Hoong Fatt does from the offset?
Well, maybe I'll just give a brief introduction. The company started off as a spare parts trading company back in the 70s by the late founder, Mr. Kamlang Fatt. It then ventured into the manufacturing of automotive replacement body parts in the early 90s. It grew stronger from there, and it got bigger, and then initially it got listed on the second board in 1998 and was transferred to the main board in 2001. Basically, our products cover metal and plastic automotive replacement body parts, which are mainly distributed in the local aftermarket, as well as being exported to more than 60 countries around the world. The company started with less than 10 people. Today, we have more than 1,000 employees, and this year we are celebrating our 40th anniversary.
That's very impressive, and of course, congratulations on celebrating your 40th anniversary. I think the key question right now is on how do you manage the various partners that you have, not just from the suppliers that you have, but of course the wholesalers and retailers. As I mentioned just now, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of retailers and wholesalers out there. What is the secret recipe for New Hoong Fatt in managing the partners?
Well, of course, the main thing for us, we actually have more than 1,000. I won't call it wholesalers. Some of them are really retailers that are servicing the aftermarket in Malaysia. And apart from that, we have also more than 400 customers around the world, which are mainly distributors of our products. In this business that we are doing, of course, we are the alternative to the OE products that's available in the aftermarket. So what we do is that we provide products that are of value to the consumers as an alternative to the OE. So in the process, of the chain, everybody gets a share of the profit. So that's how we manage our business.
And of course, a company like yours, it's not just about doing the business; it's about growing. And do you see that the company is reaching some sort of a saturation level, or is there still room to grow?
For the local business, definitely, we still see that there's room for us to grow further. That's through expanding our product range for the local market. But our main focus at the moment is really looking at how to grow the overseas market further. And we have an ambition to grow the overseas market to a base of, currently we have just about an equal split of 50-50% for the local market as well as our overseas market. So we intend to grow this to above 60%, closer to 70% in 4 to 5 years to come.
That's very impressive. And if I'm not mistaken, you were mentioning that you export to 60 countries?
Yeah, currently we export to more than 60 countries around the world.
And that would mean that the expectations of the revenue for New Hoong Fatt would be quite substantial. Not only are you exporting to this many countries, you're planning to increase the market share between the company, between the domestic and local, domestic international pie. And of course, with the weakening of ringgit, there would be unexpected gains from the transaction value from the forex that you would get from these kind of businesses. What would be the key international markets that you're focusing on?
Well, our main focus is still in the ASEAN countries. In fact, we are putting in a lot of focus in growing Indonesia, specifically growing Indonesia. In fact, we have established 2 subsidiaries in Indonesia. One trading company, which has been established since 2011. And we've just recently incorporated another company with the aim of building a plant there eventually. There's no concrete plans at the moment, but in the coming years, we're looking at building another plant in Indonesia to service the country in Indonesia.
Chong, we'll take a short break, but when we come back, we'll talk more about the internationalization of New Hoong Fatt. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is The Marketplace, and I am with Chong Choon Yeng, the New Hoong Fatt Holdings Berhad CFO. We're talking about the internationalization of the business of NHF Group. Let's talk more about Indonesia. Why do you think this is the largest market that you need to focus on?
Well, if you take a comparison of Indonesia versus Malaysia, their population base is close to 300 million. That's almost 10 times more than Malaysia's population base. And their new vehicles registration at the moment is only at around 1 million units per year. And Malaysia's, for comparison, Malaysia's new vehicle registration a year is around 600,000. So with growing disposable income level that is expected of a country like Indonesia, so we expect definitely the car sales would increase accordingly as well. So you can see that the potential for the market to grow even bigger than what it is today is going to be.
And of course, while you know the business, you might not know the country. How are you building the local people there? What's the relationship that you have with the local Indonesians?
We actually have seconded a few key people from Malaysia, from our Malaysian team to the Indonesian operations, but predominantly the people there are the local Indonesians. So obviously, we rely a lot on the local Indonesians to help us do the business there. And through our years there, in fact, even though we have only started our subsidiary in Indonesia in 2011, but prior to that, we have already established certain business relationships with the major distributors over there in Indonesia. So the connections have been built over the years. And that's how we have gained our experience in terms of dealing in the local market there.
With this rapid expansion or ambitious expansion, can we expect cash calls to take place? Are we expecting New Hoong Fatt to raise capital in the near term?
Well, if you look at our cash generation at the moment, actually we are in the range of 50 to 60 million positive operational cash flow generation on a yearly basis. So if you strip off the capex requirements of what we needed to invest in the molds and dies, which we do every year for an amount of 20 to 30 million a year, so that would still leave us with ample cash to grow our business there. And even if you look at the plan that the plant that we want to build there is not going to cost a lot of money. Yeah, of course, initially we would just start up with a smaller scale plant there. And we are looking at self-generation of funds to fund our expansion there.
Does it mean that you have a very optimistic view on being cash positive in Indonesia very soon, within a few years of our operation?
Well, obviously, for us to continue with the setting up of the plant there, we have to see the business level to grow to the desired level before we embark on that. So with that, then hopefully, with a little bit of support from our local base here, we definitely see that as something that can turn neutral pretty soon.
Well, thanks for joining me this evening. Of course, I wish you all the best. I've been speaking to Chong Choon Yeng, the New Hoong Fatt Holdings Berhad CFO. That wraps up this episode of The Marketplace. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at 50101. And don't forget to download our app on the Google Play and the Apple App Store. I'm Ibrahim Sani. Thanks for watching and goodbye.